figured it out. Sometimes I found one that has uppercase, lowercase, symbol, and numbers.
Hi there.
Just
How are
looking
you?
at for everything, it's probably not the same problem. Someone figures out one, they know everything.
That's how I used to be, but then I've changed them, but now I've got this
Already?
password protected.
Call to order the Middleville DDA meeting for Tuesday, August 5th. We'll do the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Can I get a roll call, please?
Hit the button.
Oh, sorry. Can I get a roll call, please?
You give them
Oh.
the names.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Justine King.
Here.
Sherry DeGraff.
Here.
Trevor DeGroot.
Here.
Tim Densham.
Here,
Did I get that right?
you got close enough.
Okay. Casey Haney.
Here.
Stephanie McDonald.
Here.
Eric Schaefer.
Here,
Kevin Smith. Ann Alberg.
Here.
All right. Looking for an approval of the meeting agenda.
So moved. Support.
Motion with support. All in favor, aye? Any opposed? Approval of the consent agenda, including the DDA minutes for July and the bills as of July 28th.
So moved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? All right, we'll have a roll call, please.
Trevor DeGroot.
Aye.
Tim Densham.
Aye.
Casey Haney.
Aye.
Stephanie McDonald.
Aye.
Eric Schaefer.
Yes.
Kevin Smith. Ann Alberg.
Yes.
Sherry DeGraff.
Aye.
Justine King.
Yes. All right, next up, public comments. Seeing none. Reserve time, none. Unfinished business, none. New business. Starting off with a budget adjustment.
So absolutely. So the recommendation is recommended that the board consider increasing the fund balance to reflect revenues and transferring funds to adjust expenses. You'll notice on the second page or on the next page that those items have been detailed, that there's $2,400.75 increase in interest, along with two areas that are showing the deficit or gap in regards to our current budget. As this hasn't been brought to the board before regarding the wages and anticipated benefits, that there was no way with the new job description to divide or have that solely paid based on the village. So that's where some of these changes are being proposed from salary and wages, and printing and publishing has to do with marketing expenses as well. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, but I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, are aware we can't spend funds that aren't allocated to those specific line items. And the revenue is showing the additional interest that we've received from banking and other areas.
Any questions?
I got a question. What is Williams and Works?
So Williams and Works is a consulting firm that they have performed services for us as a consultant related to engineering as well as planning and landscape architecture, currently working with us on the streetscape design. As
Gotcha.
part of the streetscape.
Anything else on this? Any motion on this?
Tim Densham.
Hold on.
They need a motion.
Oh, I apologize.
I would like to make a motion to adopt the budget adjustment.
I'll support.
Motion with support. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Tim Densham.
Support?
Casey Haney,
Support.
Stephanie McDonald,
Support.
Eric Schaefer,
Yes.
Kevin Smith,
Aye.
Ann Alberg,
Yes.
Sherry DeGraff,
Aye.
Trevor DeGroot,
Aye.
Justine King.
Yes. Alrighty, moving on to board retreat. Doug's up again.
So absolutely, this has been discussed from the board, primarily since day one of me working on here. Are you able to hear me well?
Ish.
Ish now? Trying to get the mic where it's a decent distance. So this, the retreat has been discussed since day one of me starting working for the village, at least at the capacity with the DDA. That the request before you is to allocate funds not to exceed $250 that can be used for providing food and non-alcoholic beverages at said retreat. That retreat is, we have is scheduled next Thursday. Asking board permission to approve the budget for it. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns related to that? Absolutely. Go ahead.
If you just speak a little,
I
I'm
will
hearing
s-
appeared from rock concerts growing up, so you
I
know
will
I'm
speak.
trying to do.
So absolutely. Let me repeat myself. So when I started working with the DDA, one of the initial proposals was that the board should discuss having a board retreat, partially not just for succession planning, but also discussing what the responsibilities are of the committees. As many of you know, we have new board members and we haven't assigned multiple members to said committees. So trying to discuss what those goals are and, just doing goal setting sessions. That's scheduled for next Thursday. This ask is for a budget to approve to allow for providing food and non-alcoholic beverages at said event. So we can discuss and meet next week. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns related to this?
I would like to make a motion to approve the incidental
That's right.
expenditure not to exceed $250 for
Lincoln
food
Park.
and non-alcoholic
Oh, I can get
beverages
mine.
at the DDA board workshop. Justin.
I'll support it.
Motion with support. We're spending money, so roll call again, please, Cassie.
Casey Haney,
Aye.
Stephanie McDonald.
Aye.
Eric Schaefer,
Yes.
Kevin Smith.
Aye.
Ann Alberg,
Yes.
Sherry DeGraff,
Aye.
Trevor DeGroot, Tim Densham,
Aye.
Justine King.
Yes. All right, up again, Doug.
So absolutely. So there's been plans or discussion for having a developer day as part of the village. The original anticipation was that the Chamber of Commerce was going to be able to cover the funds allocated to this. However, that hasn't worked out as previously had planned discussed. So you can see before you that there's a proposed budget not to exceed $1,250. This would be allow for design and printing of marketing materials, lunch and refreshments, along with minor logistics and supplies. The anticipation is that we have approximately 60 individuals that we're working with currently to try to get additional feedback on some of these properties. So we can hopefully find the right end user for these properties, or at least, like I said, get that information that can help us figure out who that person is later. We had a developer day in 2023 that had approximately 40 individuals. We do have a site moving forward. Whether it's related to that or not around that time frame, we've started the process with 36 State Street, as I'm sure many of you are aware. But the goal would be some of these other sites that have been established as priorities and working with private businesses to hopefully help with finding tenants or owners.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Do we have a date when an RSVP is going to go out to these developers?
So absolutely, I just finalized the list today. So RSVP should be going out within the next week or two. That Nicole Like is assisting us. However, that's going to be pending, whether or not we have the resources for, how to market and discuss with
And
individuals.
where would we hold it here? Or?
So the plan was to potentially go to the sites in the downtown area, providing information on properties that are on M37 and then having it over at Faros. So then the discussion could be, overlooking the Bliss site, as that's one of the priority sites as well.
So when you're talking developers, you're talking like Moxie and folks like that that are
So
potentially commercial
my
development?
construction companies, along with developers, real estate experts, financial entities, that Chambers had a fairly inclusive list, and we've tried to get some of the local construction companies to also provide information. So hopefully we can, get more details. But
Yeah.
yes, we will certainly be reaching out to realtors, regarding these properties, so we can provide any supplemental information about any opportunity sites in the village. We have a few vacant properties, and we have a handful of vacant pieces of land that have been primed for real estate development. But this property potentially includes both Main Street and M37.
More questions?
No, Ms. Chair, I'd like to support or make a motion to approve the not to exceed budget of $1,250 to support Developers Day on September 15th at 10 a.m.
I'll support. Motion with support. Any further discussion? All right, roll call it again, please.
Stephanie McDonald. Eric Schaefer.
Yes.
Kevin Smith. Ann Albert.
Yes.
Sherry DeGraff.
Aye.
Trevor DeGroot.
Aye.
Tim Densham.
Aye.
Casey Haney.
Aye.
Justine King.
Yes.
So the next item before you is related to professional development training. Good amount of details on here that this training allows for training opportunities, as well as myself and Cassandra, related to a couple different things. I can go into details. We have provided attached documents, anything that you'd like me to discuss, but certainly, what I wanted to iterate is that related to the registration fees, there is sufficient funds in the budget to cover any of those fees. If this was approved, the hotel and travel, that a budget adjustment would have to be done later to authorize that. But there is time, so that could come at a future meeting.
I'm sorry.
Have at it.
The BSP certification is a multi-day, if I'm not mistaken,
Yep.
it's like a week long, isn't it?
Well, it's like this one is September 16th and 17th, October 14th and 15th, November 18th and 19th.
Oh, okay, so it's split up.
So yeah, that one is one that, is through Michigan Works.
You have to go to all, because that's like going into that flu season. You know what I mean? What if you miss one? Can you make up for it? I'm just saying.
Do you want to speak
I'm always
to that?
thinking about sickness.
I do believe from looking at the BSP certification document that they do allow for you to reschedule and have like a makeup day.
I mean, I would hope, but
Yeah,
I'm just curious.
you have to complete the whole course or you don't get the certification.
Okay. Fair. Sorry, I'm just curious.
This chair will ask a question about that. For the EDFP certification, it is self-paced. Are there guidelines that you have put in place in terms of like when you have opportunities like that?
So with this, each class, there's 4 different classes to complete the certification. Each class is 40 hours scheduled in-house. Then there's an exam after that. So it would be a week that I would be dedicating time towards that training. And being that this includes 4, what I presented is that one, the village is looking into covering this year, with asking the DDA to potentially cover the other, and then looking at the 2 other classes in next year as 4 weeks with other expectations that would be unreasonable.
That's good to know.
But yeah, they have multiple opportunities. It's a Grow America. It's a nationally recognized organization. Typically, the certification is more along the lines of like pristine for what it is that I'm doing. Is I'm sure you can see from the supporting materials related to what's being referenced here, this is very much in line with the economics as well as the zoning aspects of the roles I play.
If we approve, we'll do the budget adjustment next month.
So
assuming that-
if you approve everything as is, I would ask the treasurer to prepare the necessary adjustment so that it could be
Okay.
prepared before there is even a need for travel expenses.
Perfect. Okay, any other questions? A motion anywhere?
I'll put a motion to approve it.
Support. Motion with support. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Eric Schaefer,
Yes.
Kevin Smith,
Aye.
Ann Albert,
Yes.
Sherry DeGraff,
Aye.
Trevor DeGroot,
Aye.
Tim Densham,
Aye.
Casey Haney,
Aye.
Stephanie McDonald,
Aye.
Justine King.
Yes. Okay, development plan update.
So for this next one, I don't see any representatives from Williams and Works here. So I'm going to try to do my best Nathan Namath impression, and hopefully we can, make our way through this. So when Mr. Densham asked or inquired about Williams and Works, this is one of, the scenarios that really represents what they're doing in regards to with the DDA, that we're only here as a board because of the TIF plan. The TIF plan is expiring towards the end of this year. So Williams and Works has been working with us through numerous engagement sessions to try to get public feedback, board member feedback, business feedback. And now we're in the process of revising the development plan. Our development plan previously was a little out of whack, that we had items on there that had potentially been approved or finished several years ago, where ideally as a board, we should be reviewing this annually. Okay, so going through this plan, I'm just going to touch on a handful of things. Certainly if you want me to go into more detail, I'll be more than happy to, or to address anything. The introduction page, the TIF concept hopefully gives a clear expectation in regards to what the TIF plan is, what it does. As you know, the majority of our budget comes from this concept. From 2003, how much the taxable valuation of the DDA district has increased. Okay. A lot of this stuff that's in this plan are necessary items as part of, the DDA concept. However, when we're moving forward through like the development plan area, that this is looking at a 3-phased approach where it ideally helps us with coming up with projects within 1 to 3 years, 4 to 7 years, and 7 to 10 years. The premise for this is that we're not going to have funds to be able to budget for everything, but we establish committees, work on priorities, figure out the costs, and if we have excess funds, we possibly move something forward. If we don't have sufficient funds, maybe something gets pushed to a later year. A lot of good information in there, but when you look at the actual projects that this gives, this is where I really like board members, if you do have feedback, this is a place to really give it, because you'll see here what projects are suggested as like phase 1, 2, or 3 are ongoing. This is based on our feedback as well as community members, but I don't know if anything looks out of place. If anyone had any questions or concerns about this. There's some later on after, if anyone has questions.
Well, I got questions.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure, let's get to it before
New
we
guy
go too
here.
far.
So how does this development plan, is that what's? is that
Yes,
the correct
this is
term?
development plan.
How does that tie into zoning? Because if you don't have the zoning lined up, you can make whatever plans you want, but if everything on here still says commercial, then we're all gonna have commercial. You know what I
So,
mean?
good question. So a lot of this does not directly relate to zoning, but it's imperative that it has that consideration. How the development plan works is that the village has a capital improvement plan that dictates how tax dollars are to be allocated. This coincides with that ideally for us to have more bang for the buck, some of these projects, especially larger ones, this may not be their true costs, that the village council or other partners can leverage costs. but we can help from a design aspect to improve placemaking. And then beyond that, of course, we also have our budget, which we can't deviate from there. So this helps us with staying in contact with the council in regards to giving, this is what we see big picture wise from larger projects. So if they're not as detailed to be concerned about looking at the budget, this can help them show the big picture tasks. But when I'm looking at the majority of these items from zoning, that this doesn't matter so much in regards to if the property is zoned residential or commercial. This looks at it from a neighborhood standpoint. So like the old downtown is typically zoned as our downtown business district. So these anticipated uses are along the lines with helping us in increasing the walkability to less auto-oriented, is that's what we see in the downtown area. So none of these are items that would be a factor for zoning. Looking at like the West Main Street, you can see things like improved streetscape or period traffic lighting, facades. Certainly with facade projects, they're always going to need, the DDA's approval. And that's where the only aspect that zoning potentially comes in. Our downtown requires like 90 to 70% transparency. So if that is in conflict with the facade design guidelines, we would have to take a review of that. But any of these other areas, sidewalk connections, it's something that's required for site plans, pedestrian, anything intersection related. I haven't really seen that being a zoning issue. As part of the plating process. It's either required by DPW or is part of the site plan review. Economic vitality, even though that is a different area, I can make a similar argument as, like social districts. That's something that it doesn't really apply to zoning. We've created standards that help to regulate that, but the other items, they're more ideals, related from this board or from best practices through the RRC. But none of them, I can say as the zoning administrator, none of these items would conflict with zoning. If the property was rezoned, it would only be a factor if it was a planned unit development and there was a condition that potentially prohibited something. But that's very few and far between.
Gotcha.
Very good question. Does anyone have any other questions about this, the development plan aspects?
In terms of the content of this report, I highly encourage everyone to just review, especially the design projects. I think there's going to be some things that we, again, we should really pare this down to like what we are looking for short, mid, and long term. We are discussing a moderate refactoring of our master plan that might be fueled by this. So especially for like capital improvements and just how we market the village in general. So, Doug, does it make sense for us to have a session to get, just as an information gathering and to help align with our master plan, to help maybe refactor some of the things that are in here? Because I know that there's some things that we've actually already done. And obviously you mentioned that, but.
So not in this table unless they're listed as ongoing. But I mean, you're absolutely right. So I think like one of the biggest, or the biggest expenses that's listed on here under the old downtown is potentially replacing the village quadplex with like a library, activity center, river. So the DDA does not have a sufficient budget to pay for that project, as you know. A lot of the DDA's role would be, pending on what other potential funders are going to do.
But could also augment what's being done there with
Mhm.
additional amenities around. the
Absolutely.
structure, right? Again, just trying to activate more of
Yeah.
this open land. For us.
So that's the benefit of the board establishing it as a priority, is if we want to have design standards, if we want to have control in regards to what's going on there, how it's going, that when we're offering the funding assistance, we can play a more critical role into the design aspects or into, the potential economic vitality related to the use. So that's why it is important that these items are on here, that this board should never, approve funds without understanding how or why, what the impact is.
I would just note too, this has been ongoing since last year. I think we had to start this. So it's been
Yeah.
like a year long at this point, or maybe more at this point, that we've been working on this. This is like a combination of feedback from the community, feedback from us,
I think
feedback
you
from
started in
everybody.
April last year.
Okay, I was gonna say it's been a while.
Yeah.
And then we ended up changing it more recently to the 4 different pillars of the Main Street. So that'll also be our 4 different committees. So once we get that all kind of figured out, and then we can dive back into these at a committee level and see, okay, we did want this in phase 1, but maybe we want to move this to phase 2 now and move this. And we can like play around with those things once we're kind of figuring out who's working on what and how we can do that, is the way I'm looking at it.
And we certainly can, next year, we can completely revise this whole
Right.
list if needed. Yeah, this was just designed as feedback that he'd received from, members of the community as well as the board.
So just so that all of the newer people understand.
And
kind of,
previous
can
plans
be
that have been
changed.
adopted that suggested these as priorities.
Yeah.
They were also included for feedback.
This just kind of gives us an idea of what direction the community wants to head. And then we work with everyone together to really decide.
And to be
where we're
clear, there's
headed.
nothing,
Yeah.
no vote is being asked for. This is all
Yep.
just informational.
Mhm.
Because the development plan, the TIF all needs to be, approved by this board or recommended by this board for the council's consideration. We just want to see areas that there may be possible deviation or concerns. But related to like the development project, images, I think that's a good area to kind of give an understanding for where we may potentially see gaps. Because like, where one person sees, vacant space, another could see inviting space. So a lot of these, like items like that activating of the alley, something that he's tried to give us some ideas and potential suggestions on ways that we could revisit that. If that's something that this board is interested in, along with splash pads, public gathering spaces, gateway signage.
Mhm.
I know that's something that was recently discussed, with some board members, but, murals and wall art, these are all items that have been discussed at varying levels, but this is just kind of trying to give us, some aspects to go back with how they're used, why, hopefully this is fairly clear. But there's a handful of other items in the TIF section that talks about procedures that I know we've went over. The thing I will say related to the millage rates is that this is all 2024 information. As 2025, it's not, this needs to be updated. Okay, our assessor is still working through this information, so it'll be updated soon, but it's not able to be updated at this point. But the potential capture, this, chart, is anticipated with a 2% growth. Each year we've been having to adjust our budget as when the summer taxes come in, a lot of times they end up being in excess of what we had previously planned. That's why we use these projections. They help give us the guidance, but in no way, shape, or form is this our actual budget. As you know, we have more revenue than this is anticipating through 2030 this year. So I just want to let you know this is these numbers are underestimated, but just trying to give you an understanding for how TIF works. The compliance issues, the items mentioned in accordance with the act, these are all items, that are required to be there. Maps and exhibits, anyone that's a map nerd, is very interesting. It includes the boundary that are, they've went through the documentation because we previously had some discrepancies related to the parcel IDs that were mapped as well as our previous TIF districts. But we've taken the information from the regional TIF and that's where this comes from. There's, water allocation maps and sewer maps in here as well. Good information as, capital improvement projects are going to reference this. So, it's vital that it's in there as a resource. The boundary, anyone that likes reading legal descriptions, by all means. Love reading parcel IDs. But in regards to the help section, we've seen the figures before about potential increases. Related to the help section, this information is all related to them public meetings. So anyone that wasn't part of the DDA board, about a year and a half ago, I would strongly encourage you to go through this because this shows how the community members, not this board so much, but how community members have given feedback through various ways, like, the put a penny in regards to what their priorities are through the penny jar. Just stuff like that. It has a good amount of statistical information where residents gave community feedback. Beyond that, don't really have much to say unless anyone has any questions. I could go over this in a lot of detail. I just hope that everyone's read this and understands. And if you don't understand, please feel free to call me. Let's schedule a meeting and I'll gladly go over this as long as you would like. It's about 50 pages.
I think the technical term is fans of cartography, not map nerds. So I just want to get that straight out there.
Fair.
So is just to trying to
Yes.
cross the T and dot the I in this. So this plan then that you guys have been working on for a year,
Mhm.
almost a year and a half now.
Mhm.
This has not been approved yet?
No.
Okay.
No, the goal would be to potentially get this for approval around November of this year.
Gotcha.
That's the hope, is that we can get a concept that the DDA board and the village council are in agreement with.
Gotcha. Well, from my background, I used to live in Battle Creek, and Battle Creek's downtown was dead, like scary dead. And then TIF was used to revitalize the downtown. And it's not scary anymore. It hasn't been for about 20 years. They had a lot of misses as well, but it was through this that they were able to revitalize it. So I think it's real important then that we do our best to get this right, and then tie it in with the zoning so that
Yeah.
everybody's walking in step with that, because that was some of the problems that they had is
Yeah.
the plan went this way, zoning was here, and there was like no way to marry them up effectively.
Well, and they had a separate economic organization that was overseeing the downtown in the 80s as well, in the 90s.
It's
Big
called
transitions.
Corporation.
And they were blessed to get Rebecca Flurry
That's true.
because she rocks.
Yeah, I think that it's a big bonus that Doug's kind of both. So he's really the zoning and the DDA, and so he can make sure that we're all on the same page, which is awesome.
Yes. And he rocks.
It's a bonus for us, for sure.
That's why we're giving them training,
Mhm.
make it more efficient.
Thank you. I think.
Yeah, so I would say if you guys haven't taken the 2 hours to read through this, please do that and then get with Doug with any questions, comments, concerns, especially in the next month or so. That way we can make sure it's really where we want it to be.
Yeah.
And then we can,
Your feedback helps make this a lot more transparent and simpler process when it comes to making a decision, because you can see from the length of this that the amount of things that could be debated.
Mhm.
It would be, quite intense meetings to
Yeah.
try to just divulge all this or indulge it at one time.
And as a very fast comment, this really proves the value of the DDA and really outlines how it is not an activity-based group of people. It's an impactful, thoughtful, or, group of people who are truly ruddering where village resources go. And to amend, while you're spending the 2 hours going over this, the master plan, if you have not taken the time to go through the village master plan, it is to see these two documents side by side will really give you a bigger picture and really how we need to structure this document to support the master plan and the initiatives, because at the end of the day, that the master plan is the law
Master
of the
plan is
land.
probably a 4 or 5 hour read.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a long read,
Yeah.
but it's also just as, I mean, I'm a nerd to read stuff like this. I like understanding how our city or our village is partitioned, and
It needs to be
I
a
like to
city.
see the resources that we have in terms of land and things like that. So it's a good use of time, and it really gives you a bigger picture for the village if you put.
And if you want to read it, you can go to Documents on Demand, read at the village site and read through it. You know, if you're
Yep.
doing something
It's on the
you
village
don't really
website.
enjoy, you can read that.
I would just add on this, when you read through this, keep in mind, we can only do stuff within the DDA district. So there are pieces on here that the community feedback was outside of our district a little bit. So just keep in mind that that's where we have to find the happy medium. How can we use our funds in this space, and then that way the village can use their funds in other spaces, and we can make the whole village, as a whole great. So just keep that in mind as you read stuff like about a trail. Well, we don't really have much of the trail. Yeah, so little stuff like that. We can't do much with that, but there's other things that we could. So just
And
keep
there's
that in
other
mind.
organizations that are handling the trail.
Yeah,
so.
and there's a lot of resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, lots of
Myself on
information.
Saturday.
Oh, jeez.
That's for another conversation.
Anything else on the development plan as of now? Okay, feeling good. Okay, we're gonna move on to Cassie, 1 day only free trial for the market.
Hello. So I am proposing allowing all first-time vendors who have never participated in the Middleville market to be able to have one free market day of their choosing based on their availability. My reason for considering offering this is even though our daily fee is only like $10, I have still had quite the struggle trying to get vendors, especially vendors who have like produce and items that we want to see here in our market. I've had a struggle kind of getting them to come. And one of the recommendations that was made was that it'd be nice if they could have an opportunity to have a day where they try it out and see, how they do and how the community responds, and if they like what they're selling. Or if they don't like what they're selling, before they're able to, before they commit to to more days or even to the full season. When you think about it, $10 doesn't really seem like a lot. However, as I look at it as a parent, when my kid wants a toy from the store and it's $10 versus a toy that he wants that's maybe like $1. You're gonna want to spend the $1. And it's the same thing with sure, $10 doesn't seem like a lot, but once you slap that free word on there, then people are all about it. So I am formally requesting that the board approves the allowance of a 1 day only free market day.
Any questions?
I guess I have one. Not to open a can of worms or rabbit trail too hard, but is that when you say like produce and trying to get those people involved, is that $10 the huge barrier, or I guess I'm just curious.
So
I know it's not.
yeah, so while I don't necessarily understand why some vendors feel like $10 is too much, for some of the individuals that I've spoken to, a lot of them have roadside stands for free, and they're able to put their produce out on the road with a little box, and they don't have to pay anybody anything to try it. And so that was kind of why, I brought this forward in hopes to, if we do like a free day, then maybe they may be more enticed to give it a try to see if they can recoup that money or if they will make nothing. Because there's a lot of days that our vendors don't really see a lot of traffic, you know, and they kind of struggle to make that money back that they spent.
To support Kathy here, as a pop-up vendor myself, I've had numerous farmer markets reach out to me asking me to participate, and typically the fee is triple what we charge, but I do not want to participate and pay that fee and waste a whole day not knowing if I'm even going to be profitable. But if somebody were to say, hey, come try it for a day for free, I would probably think twice and probably do that and risk the day just to see if I make sales. And then if I make sales, yeah, I would probably sign up for the season, but I think that just having that one-time try would definitely entice our local farmers and hobby farmers to want to participate for sure.
And I'm totally supportive of the free day. That's why I said not to open a can of worms, because I'm wondering
Yeah.
if there's like a root underlying thing that's more than a $10 problem. Because to me, the bigger thing becomes if they do their free trial and don't do well, did we just salt their mouth
Yeah,
permanently,
scare 'em
you know?
off.
So
Yeah.
like I said,
That's fair too, yeah.
not to open up a whole thing, but that was just kind of my thought process.
So on this topic, but kind of off, anyway, it's fine. Marketing the market, if you will. I know we're working on some stuff for that and all that. However, as I read this, I was thinking, I don't want to go and just walk and see if there's something there I like. I would like to have a list. I don't know, that's just me.
Okay.
But I want like a list of who's there, because then I could be like, ooh, they're there, and I wanted that. And then I would go there. But I have no desire to potentially waste my time
Mhm.
if there's not a specific, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I know the meadery did candles or whatever. Like, I
Yep.
would be interested in smelling their candles and maybe purchasing. But I don't know when they're there. Do you know what I mean? And I'd
Yep.
seen that they were there one day, which was great. But then, so what if included in this, you know, we also advertised,
Yep.
Yeah. And our first time market participant, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And then here's a list of the other ones. Or, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Just stuff like that to try to like,
Yeah, I do
I don't
agree.
know.
We need to more
Awareness.
heavily market
Yeah,
our market.
because sometimes I'm like, I don't even know how many people are there today. And it could be, sure, it could look bad some days if we only have 10 vendors there. But I just think that's going to bring more awareness. And like I
Mhm.
said, I drive by on my way home some Fridays if I'm working here, and I don't necessarily want to stop because I'm on my way to get dinner or, you know, whatever.
Yep.
But like if I saw that there was something like, oh, I could stop and grab some produce, or, you know what I mean? Maybe I would think to stop if I had seen something that caught my eye on the
Okay.
internet or whatever earlier that day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
Is there, and I know that the number of vendors fluctuates.
Yeah.
Are we collecting any information from the vendors themselves to find out why they do and why they do not participate? Because the cycle is, if there's low turnout in vendors, often other vendors won't want to come in because when there's fewer vendors, there's less traffic.
Right.
I agree. It's a chicken or the egg, right? Like if people know what's there, they'll come, right? But the flip side is, I appreciate the free day and I'm in support of that, but I also am curious, do we understand the dynamics of our vendors and what makes them be attracted to our market? And are we missing the mark on their side? Are we not doing something other than the obvious, I think? Which is to spread the word and be a little bit more intentional about who's there. But are you gathering that?
Yeah, so when I speak with like my vendors, and then I also speak with people who, you know, I've received complaints, of course, like about the market from, you know, people who used to be vendors, that the time of day doesn't work for them or they don't like the day. But from what I understand from speaking to Wayland's DDA director, because I meet with, you know, a group of directors for lunch once a month, is that they also have a similar problem. They have a higher turnout, but there's always like vendors that don't seem to like the time or the day.
When is theirs? What day is theirs?
Theirs is I believe I think there's one on Tuesday, and I believe that there is one on Saturday.
And they have just triple the population that we do.
Yep.
So,
And when I speak to like some of my vendors, a lot of them, you know, have had really, really poor days, honestly. You know, they haven't really had the best sales. They haven't really made a lot. I know, like for myself, and I'm open and will make the adjustments that you recommended. But I have been, you know, working on marketing, you know, the Middleville market as well as the Riverbank series together, you know, and really trying to get people down here. I even went all the way out to Gun Lakes Farmers Market because they recently started a farmers market and was asking questions of their vendors and trying. So the one in Gun Lake, I believe, is every third Thursday of the month.
Have we done any, this may be table stakes, but I gotta ask, have we done a tally of the people, like just to mark traffic and like how many people are actually browsing the market and plotting out the hours and determining how many people are visiting at 3 versus 6?
What you should do is a
Agreed.
survey. You
I was
should-
just gonna say that too. I was just gonna say, because like, if it was beneficial to leave it open to 7 while the music is going,
Or 8,
yes, if we could,
or 9?
Yeah.
Or like a 5 to 9 or something. versus
Yeah,
a 3.
like who's
Yeah.
coming at 3? Because I drive by at 5, you know, when
Yeah,
I'm
people
out
are
of
still at
work.
work. at 3
Yeah,
o'clock.
but also it's, I say that, but then you know you go to 28th Street at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday and it's packed and you're like, nobody works.
Yeah.
So it's really
That was
like,
me this afternoon.
yeah, it's really like, do people really, you know?
I think behaviorally, like, I think we've made a lot of assumptions by just putting, like, because we've done it this way all the time.
I agree.
I
yes.
really believe shaking it up would be, let's find out what traffic patterns look like.
Yep.
Let's determine, like, why isn't it open while the music series is going? I
Yeah.
have no idea, like, are these people so eager to leave and scoot away while literally a sum of people are sitting there who
Mhm.
could, maybe they're playing a song they don't like, I don't know, like, and maybe they wanna go browse. I'm just not
Start with a survey.
convinced we've done a lot of diligence
Mhm.
on how
Well, I think
we-
you ought to write your ideas up, give them to her, she'll put a survey together and we'll rock on. What do you think?
So I think we should, do that, like track traffic. And I don't know what that looks like, but
I guess I gotta go back to a like even more basic question, like, why are we doing this? Are we doing this because it generates revenue for the village, or are we doing it to get people downtown?
Why are we doing the farmer's market?
the second,
Yes.
It's the
to
second.
Promote economic support. for
Yeah.
Okay, so
businesses.
we want to get people down here. That's
Yeah,
the
we're not
purpose.
making money off it.
Okay.
And support the businesses. that
get
are
people
selling.
down here, yeah,
Gotcha.
and then support local
But
businesses,
maybe it is too early,
local people.
3 in the afternoon, maybe it's too early.
Yeah, I do think we're a little stuck on we've always done this, so I think maybe, and I don't think necessarily changing the day makes sense because I know that there's so many others
much
on
competition.
Saturday or whatever, and we don't
Totally
want to
don't
do
And this
that.
would be a good conversation,
But we
you
should
know,
do that.
for the committee next
Yeah.
year, in regards to what and how the
Yeah.
market
But
potentially
I'd start
operates.
with a
in certain
survey and ask the people that are coming what they think of the time, or should we do it every other week, or whatever,
Yeah,
Just
right?
playing devil's advocate here, we don't think that a Saturday would be beneficial, like even if we did do a different time than Caledonia, like Caledonia, I think is, I have no idea, maybe 9 to 2. What if we did 10 to 3 or something?
I
Because
think that could be
people might
included.
farmer's market hop.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, but vendors, so I would say if if we
That makes
if we
sense.
ask the vendors if they would
Yes.
do, that would be a,
'Cause that's a
a
lot of
potential,
packing and unpacking and.
Yeah. and I know it's for the committee, but we're all not gonna show up to that, and we're all here, so, okay, anyway. So,
Good idea, make a motion.
what, yeah, I would like to say is just if we could, yes, start working on some thoughts and ideas of how can we switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
And also with the marketing. So that, back to this 1-day free trial, I think we should add that we're gonna do some advertising. So when you go to reach out to vendors, you would then say, we'll advertise you, and then we'll send them all a survey
Mhm.
afterwards and getting their feedback. Would be my, I
We
think,
need
kind
to
of
put a
what
survey
we all
box
put
out there so they can drop it in there to get it back.
But also
Mhm.
ask
Or you could
that
ask them in
they
person.
promote that they're going to be there.
Well,
Like,
for sure.
They should have a Facebook page where they
Yeah.
either
Yeah.
share your post, Cassie, or
Yeah.
have a post
Mhm.
of their own saying, catch us at the village market.
Mhm.
And
So-
provide guidance to them to do so.
Yeah.
A one-page
Yeah.
marketing, hey, this is how to do well at our farmer's market.
Yeah.
I think that would be really helpful for them.
Something, yeah. Okay, motion for the free trial? Anywhere?
I would like to, are you?
No,
making
you
a
do it,
motion?
you do it, you make it. Sorry, I know, I said that weird.
Make
I know,
a
okay.
motion to provide a one-day free pass for new vendors to try out our farmer's market.
Support.
Motion with support, any more discussion? All those in favor, aye. Any opposed? All right, next up, let's see where this one takes us down a rabbit hole. Go ahead, Cassie.
Oh, it's my turn again. Okay. So as some of you, I don't know, does everybody follow me on Facebook, both pages, Middleville DDA and coordinated by Clark?
Yes.
So essentially what I am bringing forward is some of you may have seen some of the video content that I've been creating, as well as, you know, the advertisements and things that I've been making on Canva to help with marketing, because it's better to have a visual to go along with what you're posting about, because it catches attention versus just a regular text bubble, which people are bound to just kind of scroll past. So I've been dabbling in doing more video content, and so far that has gone really well. My market vendors have really enjoyed, you know, the advertising that they've been able to get through that, you know, and so basically I'm simply proposing the annual purchase of these 3 digital content tools, Canva Pro, CapCut Pro, and Epidemic Sound, as these subscriptions would be used to create high quality graphics, videos, video content, and also provide audio for promoting DDA programs, events, and initiatives.
I have a question. Yes. 2 questions. What is epidemic? Epic, however you say it.
It's a royalty-free sound bed. And
Okay.
it's, you can custom bake sound beds for videos to match the exact length of the videos that she's creating. It's amazing. I use it.
Okay.
I fully support all
Kevin,
3 of
Kevin's
these.
in support.
I was gonna say, what's Kevin gonna say?
So-
He's like, yes, make more TikToks, let's
What
do it.
is the purpose of using CapCut over just using like Instagram Reels or TikTok?
So CapCut provides, it's a lot more user friendly, and also provides like templates, and, you know, you're able to do more with the videos than you could just based on Instagram and, you know, just regular TikTok. So that would kind of be why, just because it provides like differentiation between, you know, what I can do with the content and what I can do with the videos, such as like slowing the video down or like speeding it up, or changing like the hue, or being able to edit it more professionally, so that way the video runs a lot smoother.
Single platform, multiple content.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because I use TikTok and Instagram for those reasons, and I found that TikTok has the flexibility. However, I don't know if the DDA or the village, whoever supports the use of that platform, or if that just doesn't.
You're saying
It's
provide as
multiple
much.
platforms. Yeah, so this is one software for all the platforms,
Mhm.
rather than just going directly to TikTok and using that tool. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it just helps develop multiple platform content
Okay.
in one space.
Is the village using TikTok?
I wish.
Not yet, as far as I
Well,
know.
we
I think
shouldn't
we've
be,
been
because
talking
it's,
slightly,
the federal
but-
government has said that that is not something.
Yes.
Any government is supposed to be using.
Yes.
Except
Oh,
congressmen
really?
and
Yeah.
senators
Right.
use it, so, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
they may be using it,
But you're
but
not the government, so it's okay, but a government entity like this cannot be used.
I didn't know, so,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
I think it's very great.
Yeah.
okay.
People are doing it anyway.
People are doing it, but the
But-
federal government stance is that government should not be
It
using
was
it.
banned.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I mean, it is banned from the federal
Yes.
government, so whether or not we are gonna comply with that is up
We
to
should.
us. But
Mhm.
Who cares? Okay,
All right.
so.
Tell us how you really feel.
I just mean that I don't care about this debate right now.
my last job was cybersecurity, so that's why
Yeah.
I'm concerned about something.
Finding that. No, that's
Right, we
fair.
just don't
So I believe these
have that.
softwares will work for more than just TikTok. They work for multiple social media platforms.
Yeah, it would go across all.
Well, sounds good.
Yeah.
Does anyone have more questions about these subscriptions or any concerns or anyone want to make a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any conversation? All right, roll call, please.
Ann Alberg,
Yes.
Sherry DeGraff,
Aye.
Trevor DeGroot,
Aye.
Tim Densham,
Aye.
Casey Haney,
Aye.
Stephanie McDonald,
Aye.
Eric Schiefer,
Yes.
Kevin Smith,
Aye.
Justine King.
Yes. Okay. Director's report.
So absolutely. So just a few things to highlight here. So related to number 3, the office and technology improvements. Was able to get in contact with Charter and had a preliminary meeting with them yesterday, where their IT person provided the needed specs to our IT company so they can give them the necessary information. The plan would be to potentially have Wi-Fi up in about 4 weeks. Just as an update, that's where that stands right now. The streetscape improvements, we did have a meeting. A couple of board members are there. I don't want to steal anyone's thunder. I'm just noting that, there's a handful of other items in here listed from like the economic vitality, organization promotions, the downtown speaker system. Want to include this as the company that's been providing the sound. They went bankrupt and they no longer service those. This is a quote we received from a local company that's one of a few in the nation that can potentially do this. That if it's something that the board is interested in looking into, especially, potentially later this year or next year, we can have those dialogues. I have a lot of information that we could share. This was just a preliminary idea for what potential ballpark they may be in to provide ample sound and lighting for the downtown district. Beyond that, yes, the social district was approved by the Michigan Liquor Control Commission. All those requirements have been met. The businesses still need to apply for their individual licenses, and we also need to provide signage at specified areas and agree upon a final logo as well. I was going to ask the board about this. We've had multiple logos over the years. I don't know if the comfort or the vision right now would be to potentially using the wagon wheel, or where we would think, from like a logo standpoint, this would be something that'd be located on the individual's adult beverage containers that they would potentially carry around in the downtown district. Beyond that, I don't know if anyone has any questions specific to anything in my notes or any other comments. The only thing beyond this I will say is that from our budget standpoint, really wanted to highlight this because on the later pages, what you see related to the budget, this is Main Street budget. So these are along fiscal year 1 is what I'm hoping to get board feedback on. This is an anticipated, budget related to what some of our current expenses are, along with some of our areas that may need to be addressed. I will say when we're looking at the development plan and the need for having some of the committees meet, that we should look at establishing budgets for economic vitality design, and so forth, that potentially having them as larger line items for each of those committees for them to work on establishing priorities and how we can help in achieving those goals. The events had included individual ones, or I was recommending including individual ones for each individual event, because one of the challenges we faced earlier this year was if we do have just a large sum of money for events, how much of it goes to this one event if we're having numerous events? So the budget there is, that's what's anticipated. You can see the proposal you see before you is approximately 205,000, where anticipated revenues that are shown on the next page is shown around 288. So there certainly still is wiggle room, even if those if there were just items added to what's being proposed on there. But want to have that added, and also give a quick update that you can see from our engaged level work plan, where the current status of projects are, that there are a handful of things that we still need to address before we can submit a application to become select level. Anyone that's not aware, I can certainly discuss what some of those resources are that become available once we are a select level community, but there are higher expectations and standards from reporting and staff time and allocation, as well as board and volunteers. So that'll require further dialogue. But, we also, I didn't highlight this, but the marketing plan, we had the discussion in Planning Commission and Village Council joint meeting about the need or necessity for a marketing plan, as well as master plan updates. So there will be more dialogue opportunities there as well. If anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns? Thank you.
For the logo, we got so many options. Does anyone have any thoughts of like what you think makes sense, but also thinking ahead so we don't have to ever change it?
Yeah, I thought we just did the logo.
So what?
You
So
can't just
what
say
my
DDA.
so what my suggestion would be is that later on, once we have this finalized, I believe we should look at potentially procuring stickers for businesses as a starter for them to potentially have cups, but then putting notice on the businesses themselves. But we still would have to, if the logo or anything changed, that's something that would need to be discussed. The DDA board never did or suggested anything regarding their logo. The village itself came to the consent to utilize the Stagecoach, but the DDA has had various, there's a lot of different logos.
Right. That's the thing. Okay. So we
now have the
this is
Main
the
Street.
current one.
So that's what's
Technically.
primarily been used was the wagon wheel. That there's the version that you see before you is the one that their hands that make the
Yes.
spokes, and there's numerous colors.
I wondered when you said wagon wheel. I was like, what? I haven't seen a wagon
But
wheel.
numerous colors would cost more money.
So it's
Yeah.
like this here, that they're different colors. That's what
Oh.
had been used, but it doesn't mean that we have to use that. And if the board isn't able to come to a consensus today, that's fine,
Yeah.
but it's something that I want to present to the board, because before we're able to implement the social district, we're going to have to decide on the logo. This is just the one that's been most commonly used, so that's why it included it.
These are single use, or people can have them and then
So-
bring them back,
It would be single
Single
use. That's correct.
so paper.
But we
Plastic,
can do yes,
probably.
we can do stickers. So they just
Yep.
sticker their plastic cups and
Yeah, they get like a 12 or 16 ounce container that they can
Probably
post a sticker on.
replicate would be benefit, is that a tactic?
So the goal would be for the businesses to be able to, create them themselves, because the bartenders are going to be responsible for making sure they don't overserve. That this isn't being proposed as like a revenue strategy for the DDA. It's ultimately giving businesses other opportunities to increase engagement and hopefully, gain them more patronage as well.
Are they buying the sticker? Sorry.
we're
Are they
gonna
buying the
So
stickers
that-
from us, though?
So what I would initially propose is potentially giving them a set of stickers, but that's something that could certainly be dialogued. I don't have anything for the board today, but that's something that they could possibly buy them from us as well. That's an option.
I'm just thinking broader control.
Some of the challenges I've seen related to like cups is inventory management. We have limited space, so purchasing of cups may not be viable, especially running them to businesses at any odd hour that they may need them for an event. Then if we are going to do the stickers, it's just a question in regards to whether or not we want to continue to manage that ourselves, or if, they, potentially have a vendor that they work with. But those are all things that we can discuss. There's different options.
I thought Muskegon had their social district logo right on the cup.
A lot of them do. There are, so like if it's a bar, it may make sense for them to potentially have it on the cup. But if we were to maintain inventory, it may not make sense for us to buy 500 cups and store them here.
So it'll be a
to give
common
business.
sticker, but perhaps not a common.
A common sticker, Middleville Social District, there's the logo. And then, we give the businesses that are part of the district how many they need. If, of course, then there could be options for later discussions, if the businesses were responsible for them themselves, but it's important that people realize what it's for. Yeah, like some businesses, you are correct that they have individualized theirs to possibly River Dog or Champs to let people know where they came from.
This may be the horse way after the cart at this stage, but, and I'm using that term very specific because I'm thinking about Reds and the meadery. Are there going to be mechanisms for those organizations to participate in the social district as well on this?
So they wouldn't be able to, as they're not part of the local area. There certainly could be events or activities that could allow for them to engage. But the typical social district would have to apply for individual licenses based on their location. So for anyone that may recall, like Brewfest, for example, there are opportunities for events and for people to apply for licenses to have businesses as part of a said event. So there may be options, for future discussion, but it would be outside of the social district discussion.
Mm-hmm. Just based on the whole like purchasing the sticker thing, why would we want to put any more like financial on the business, right? Like why wouldn't we just provide stickers for the rest of time? Do you know what I'm saying?
That's a good conversation point, especially, for the promotions committee, having that dialogue in regards to how it is, what services we're providing to those businesses. I think that is a really good discussion.
Because my thought is like, if we're putting all this money into this, I would like everyone to use it. And if they don't want to upfront the money for the cups or whatever, like.
And the
we'll take care
licenses
of
themselves cost over
Right.
$200.
So they have to at
This
least
is
get
one
the
of the most
license.
expensive licenses for them.
Yeah.
Yep,
And would that's something they have to renew every year?
that's correct.
Got it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
so
kind of
like,
agree, because that was one
so
of my
whoever's on that
questions.
committee, we're paying for the stickers. Okay. Anyway.
Motion to approve.
Because people are dragging their own alcohol down there already. I've seen people, tall boys walking around down there, But so how are we going to circumvent that? And say, if you're going to drink, you got to buy from within the social district.
Well, I think that's
So,
all about our.
It's
I saw
it's similar in
somebody walk
regards
up
to
to me.
enforcement, that a lot of that is educating and working with our law enforcement in regards to what it is that's permitted within the social district. Because yes, the whole premise behind this is that the bartenders are still liable for potentially over-serving individuals. Whereas you all know if you were to, acquire alcohol from your house, that there's no one there to monitor you.
With this
So that is a
license
concern.
too, the restaurant is required to pour that said tall boy into a cup and put that
Right.
sticker on it.
Right.
So
Yep.
if anybody's walking around with a can of beer, like that's illegal and law enforcement needs to take action.
Yep.
Well, no one's doing anything about it right now. So I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
And that's absolutely
Yeah.
correct. It has to be the specific containers.
Yeah.
Just because a place has a
Mhm.
license that could allow them to sell like a 6-pack, it does not mean that you can drink a 6-pack out in public.
Right. And that could be a sign that we add downtown, like,
Yep.
about what's allowed or what.
Social district area,
Yeah.
no outside alcohol.
Yeah.
There may
something
be
like
some
that.
education
Okay.
starting.
Yep. Okay, so